They called him weak. They mocked his magic. They left him to die in the cursed abyss. But they made one mistake. They didn't confirm the body. This is the story of the boy they betrayed and the demon king he became. In the Empire of Velgrin, every young mage was ranked by power, and Kael was ranked dead last. At the academy training grounds, elite students unleashed explosive displays of magic, shaking the very earth. But when Kael tried, he could only conjure a tiny spark of fire, barely enough to light a candle. The other students didn't hold back their laughter. "That's it. My grandma can cast stronger fire," one sneered. "Why is he even on our elite squad?" another chimed in. Kael remained silent, his eyes fixed on the ground, absorbing their taunts. But Kael had something even the Empire feared, potential they couldn't measure. He possessed a unique mana signature, an untamed power that didn't fit into their rigid ranking system. While others focused on raw destructive force, Kael's magic was different, more subtle, a quiet ember waiting for the right kind of fuel to erupt into an inferno. The Academy's instructors saw it as a defect, a sign of weakness. They couldn't understand what they couldn't quantify, so they simply dismissed him. But Kael felt it, a deep well of energy humming just beneath the surface, a power that promised greatness if only he could learn how to unlock it. He spent his nights in the library, poring over ancient texts, searching for answers that the modern curriculum refused to provide, determined to prove them all wrong. One day, his elite squad was tasked with exploring the treacherous abyssal ruins, a place known for swallowing entire expeditions. As they stood before the chasm's maw, the team's captain, a man named Valerius, turned to Kael with a devious smirk. "Kael, go ahead. Check the path," he ordered. Blindly trusting his superior, Kael nodded and stepped forward. But the moment his foot touched the ground, it crumbled beneath him, revealing a bottomless pit. He desperately reached out, his fingers grasping at empty air. "Help me," he cried. But his teammates just watched, their faces cold and impassive. Valerius turned his back. "We're done carrying dead weight," he declared. The team walked away without a second glance, their footsteps echoing as Kael plummeted into the crushing darkness. The fall should have killed him instantly. The impact against the jagged rocks below should have been the end. But fate had other plans. In the endless dark, a faint light began to glow, drawn to the unique and untapped energy within him. The abyss wasn't just a grave, it was a crucible, and the boy they discarded was about to be reforged. Kael awoke in a vast, cavernous throne room, the air thick with ancient power. Before him sat a massive, pulsing crystal, glowing with a sinister red light. A deep, echoing voice filled his mind. "You are the one who survived?" it rumbled. Before Kael could react, the crystal cracked open, unleashing a demonic spirit of pure, malevolent energy. "My power needs a vessel," the spirit hissed, swirling around him. "And your hatred, your sense of betrayal, is perfect." Kael screamed as the demonic power flooded his body, rewriting his very essence. His eyes, once gentle, burned with a crimson fire. The pain was unbearable, but so was the surge of strength. He felt the limitations of his old self shatter, replaced by an infinite, dark magic. The tiny spark he once struggled to create was now a raging inferno, a galaxy of destructive force at his fingertips. And in that moment, the weakest mage in the Empire of Velgrin was reborn. He was no longer just Kael. He was now the vessel for the forgotten Demon King. Before we continue, tap like, drop a comment, and hit subscribe. It tells YouTube this video is worth pushing to more anime fans. Kael walked out of the abyss, shrouded in an aura of black flames that licked at the ground around him. Two Imperial guards, stationed at the ruins entrance, spotted his silhouette emerging from the darkness. "Halt! Identify yourself," one of them shouted, raising his spear. Kael didn't even break his stride. He simply raised a single finger. A silent shockwave of pure force erupted, flinging the guards off their feet and sending them tumbling backward like broken dolls. He didn't come back for forgiveness. He came back for answers. Every step he took was filled with a new, terrifying purpose. The world he returned to was the same, but he was completely different. The air itself seemed to bend to his will, the shadows stretching to greet him. The weak, timid boy was gone, replaced by a being of immense power whose very presence was a declaration of war. Meanwhile, in the capital, his old squad was celebrating their successful mission and the unfortunate loss of their weakest link. They raised their glasses in a toast, laughing and reveling in their treachery. Suddenly, the grand hall doors swung open, and all noise ceased. Kael stood in the doorway, his crimson eyes scanning the room until they landed on them. The captain, Valerius, dropped his cup, his face pale with shock and terror. "Kael, you're alive?" he stammered. Kael offered a cold, chilling smile. "No," he said, his voice a low growl that echoed with the power of the abyss. Kael died in those ruins. His aura exploded outward, a violent wave of dark energy that shattered every window and sent panicked nobles screaming. The triumphant celebration turned into a scene of pure chaos. What rose from the darkness was something far worse than a ghost. It was a reckoning. Desperate and terrified, the team launched a barrage of their most powerful spells. Fireballs, ice lances, and bolts of lightning flew toward Kael. But he merely deflected everything with a casual wave of his hand, the powerful attacks fizzling out into nothingness against his dark aura. "He's not human," one of them screamed, their confidence completely shattered. Kael took a slow, deliberate step toward them, the ground cracking under his feet. "You wanted a monster," he said, his voice dripping with venom. "Now face one." He raised his hand, gathering an immense sphere of dark energy, ready to erase them from existence. But just as he was about to unleash the fatal blow, a memory flashed in his mind. The tiny, insignificant spark of fire he had once cast at the academy. A flicker of his former self. His fist tightened, and the raging power began to recede, held back by a sliver of his humanity. "This isn't over," he whispered, his voice returning to a softer, more human tone. "Your betrayal was just the beginning." In a swirl of black flame, he disappeared, leaving his terrified former comrades in the ruins of the hall. And so begins the rise of the Demon King, born not from evil, but from betrayal. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more epic recaps.